So I never got a chance to talk about this, but it got me wondering, about something else as well. You see, several weeks ago, news broke that the long lost American Sailor Moon, that's right, an American Western animation version of Sailor Moon, had been uncovered by YouTuber Ray Mona. That's a that's Raymona. And she documented just about over 3 hours of her journey to find this American version of Sailor Moon, because apparently it did exist. There was a music video that was shown and an anime and everything. And you definitely could tell just by that music video, and then basically, what also was discussed and everything by those, I think, that worked on it. You can definitely see by that music video and everything, and by people describing it, like I said, who worked on it, that it had a definite 90s feel. It definitely had a 90s feel to it. Well, recently, in the past month or so, it was finally uncovered, and she uncovered it. Her journey basically ended with her uncovering it at the Library of Congress in Washington, D.C. Now, she's uploaded the 10-minute pilot along with the music video, basically not camcorder footage or anything, but as it was intended, basically, or should have been intended to be seen. She's uploaded the 10-minute pilot and the music video to accompany it. All you have to do is YouTube it, or search for it on YouTube under her name, Ray Mona, and you should be able to find it. But when I look, and I want to, and it's going to be like, I think, 2 chapters, maybe multiple chapters. Do the best I can within the span of less than 20 minutes when you're recording at 1080p, 60 frames per second. She what I'm trying to say, when she uncovered this and finally put it out there for everybody to see, it did, I should say, back up what I mentioned, what people had claimed about it when they saw the music video at the convention, at that anime convention, or several anime conventions, conventions period. That it definitely had a 90s feel, but the kind of 90s feel that it had was a feel that, well, felt very familiar to me. You see, I've come on here several times in the past year or so, actually, and talked about a show called Secret Adventures. In Secret Adventures, you had this young girl who would babysit these 2 children of a school principal, and to kind of learn a lesson that they all were basically trying to learn, together, because they had things in common. They would go on these animated secret adventures where they would become all these different animated animals. And in these segments lasted about, I would say, 5 minutes, 7 minutes at most. But they would always spend that time learning the lessons through what they would do, through what was going on. And sometimes the animation did last a little longer, by a few minutes, but still they would spend a majority of that time learning about what's going on. And to me, when I look at something like this American version of Sailor Moon, that kind of reminds me of that. Now, I know there have been other shows that have been very similar in doing that, don't get me wrong. And, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but when you look at this American version of Sailor Moon, whoo boy, this, you can definitely tell that unlike the traditional OG Sailor Moon that we all know and love for over 30 years, 30 plus years, and was appealing to everybody, boys, girls, men, women, people that as young boys and as young girls remain fans even to this day. you can definitely tell that this show, even though they may have had the best of intentions to, gain the interest of both boys and girls, you can definitely tell that this American version of Sailor Moon was definitely aimed more at little girls. Well, not little girls, but mainly at the girl demographic most of all. You can definitely see that. You can definitely see that. And you can tell that it kind of has a mixture of, just by the presentation, live action, animation. It has kind of like a hybrid mixture for presentation of both Sabrina the Teenage Witch, the television show, the primetime show, and Sabrina the animated series. It's like they might have took inspiration from that. I'm not saying they did, but it kind of has that vibe. It has that vibe a little bit, but it also has vibes when it gets to the live action part, from what I can tell, of things like Calissa Explains All, or The Babysitter's Club, or to an extent Alex Mack, which I thought was a good show. Honestly, but still, it still kind of had those vibes, and you know what kind of vibes I'm talking about, and I say it with all due respect, no offense. So yeah, you can definitely tell that whoever was working on this series when it came out, or wasn't, with the purpose of it coming out, which it didn't, that the main goal was to, the main goal as far as viewership demographic wise was young girls, little girls, preteens, you name it. And I think maybe that's why this American version didn't get as far as even getting a little bit of a tease on a Saturday morning on a network or anything like that, because it's like, what the hell is this? This is not Sailor Moon. And maybe it's just my opinion, but I would not be surprised that the people in Japan that licensed the Sailor Moon property to the American studio, or to the people that were going to animate, or to the studio, I should say, that was going to animate and film this version of Sailor Moon for Western audiences. I can almost, and again, just my opinion, I'm not really sure, but I can almost be certain that they were not totally thrilled with what they saw, because to them, that's not what Sailor Moon is. Yeah, Sailor Moon has romance in it because of Tuxedo Man and the guy behind Tuxedo Man and stuff like that. But to them, seeing something like that, no, that's not Sailor Moon. And I wouldn't be surprised if the people behind the original Sailor Moon said, you're not going to show that, because if you do, we will sue. They probably threatened some kind of lawsuit, because it wasn't maybe what they were agreeing upon would be brought over. So by default, what may have happened is they decided, okay, look, we can't do this, so can we bring your version over and dub it, instead, and maybe kind of like edit it just a bit, tweak it just a bit, so it fits within our culture and everything, or within our viewer restrictions. And that's probably what was agreed upon. And to me, that's the truth. In my opinion, that's probably the truth. And although we may not really know that, to me, that's the truth. That I think what gave us the opportunity here in the U.S. to get the Japanese Sailor Moon brought over, dubbed, and kind of edited down just a bit, was the fact that they had presented this version of Sailor Moon with all this added in it, and the people behind the original Sailor Moon were like, nope, that's not going to work, and if you go forward with it, we're going to sue you, and we're going to take the license back, and you may never see Sailor Moon ever. So that might have been what happened. I'm not really sure. It's just my opinion. But yeah, it is apparently now out there for you to see, on Ray Mona's channel. Check it out. But to me, I think, again, what really, sealed the deal to maybe its fate was the fact that it was definitely more different, than what the original Sailor Moon was. And I'm pretty sure, like I said, the original creators that licensed, the Sailor Moon name and stuff over to the studio that was going to do this series probably were not happy about it, and threatened a lawsuit, and maybe threatened not to even share Sailor Moon with the U.S. ever, unless they took it out, unless they removed it. And I'm thinking that's what the deal was. Okay, can we bring your version over instead? Because you got to remember, the people that were distributing some of the animes at the time were Geek Entertainment. They're now owned by WildBrain, or now basically a part of WildBrain, absorbed into them. They probably made that deal happen, because I do remember when Sailor Moon came out, you would have at the end of the credits, you would have the D, for Geek Entertainment. So, again, just my opinion, but I think that's what, caused this version of Sailor Moon to be shelved, be sent to the Library of Congress, and us to get the Japanese version instead, as kind of a way to make good for, I guess, in the Japanese creators' mind, the original creators of Sailor Moon's minds, make up for the atrocity that the American studio was going to bring to the table, or at least attempt to. But that does bring up another does bring up a good question. Overall, that does bring up a good question when it comes to Raymona's journey, and that is, something that Rob the Wonderful, when he was talking about this in his recent updated video of Lost Cartoon Media, you have to wonder how many lost medias are in the Library of Congress. Like, if the Sailor Moon American version of Sailor Moon, the 10-minute pilot and the music video are in the Library of Congress, you got to ask yourself, what else could be there? Like, what other media that we thought we were going to get is there? That, it's just, just at, I wouldn't say finger links tips, if you will, but you have to wonder what is also there that potentially somebody could go out and do what a Raymona did and find potentially a lost movie, a lost, film or something like that, or a lost digital file of a film or a series that was planned to come out but never did. You have to wonder how many how many more are out there, I should say. You got to wonder that. I mean, for example, Disney had the Fluffy Dogs they were going to turn into a series. You got to wonder if the Library of Congress may have the Fluffy Dog episodes. Not just, now I know you're thinking, well, Disney would mostly have them, and that's true, but, to an extent, you have to wonder how many of the Fluffy Dog episodes they have, along with some of the episodes that Disney has, if any were made. You know what I'm saying? As well as you got to look at things, like Sonic Sat AM. There's a good chance that what would have been the third season, maybe some episodes, if they were made, or at least in the WIP stages, are in the Library of Congress. You have to wonder. You have to wonder that. As well, you have to wonder about movies that were planned to be made, were probably on the verge of being done. And only needed with a few things tweaked here and there, post-production effects and stuff. You have to wonder how many of them are in the Library of Congress. It just makes you wonder. I mean, I know people are thinking, well, wait a minute, is Batgirl going to end up in the Library of Congress, even though she's going to get, it's being reported that WB is going to vault it for good? You never know. You never know. I mean, heck, how many superhero films based on established Marvel and, established Marvel and DC properties are out there? You have to wonder, how many of them might be, independently in the Library of Congress. You have to wonder that, because I'd be curious about that, in my opinion. Like, how many are out there? But again, that's just me. It's just me wondering, like, how many could be out there. Like, how many independent films based on Marvel or DC properties, from, independent studios that were able to get the license to try to do something like that, are in the Library of Congress that never saw the light of day despite being filmed and pretty much finished. How many, independent films from independent studios based on Image or IDW Comics or Dark Horse Comics are in the Library of Congress, because they were completely finished, but they never saw the light of day. Same with an animated or live action series. Like, how many live action and animated series based on Image Comics, IDW Comics, Marvel, DC are, that, barely got a glimpse, are now in the Library of Congress and considered lost media. I'm just saying. I mean, we know about the Youngblood cartoon, so you have to wonder, how many episodes, if not, the one we saw, at least the intro, that is, are, in the Library of Congress. It's something to really, really think about and wonder, because it's like, if the American Sailor Moon and the music video that helped promote it, what I'm trying to say is, if the American Sailor Moon and the music video that accompanied it to promote it were found by this Ray Mona girl in the Library of Congress, you have to wonder what else is there. You have to wonder what else is there besides what I mentioned. Could there, be, things like, could there be things like, movies based on, properties that were completely finished but didn't get any further than, being done filming, but they couldn't get no post-production because they were canceled. You gotta wonder how many shows, animated or live action, got that, kind of treatment. Like, how many episodes were animated, finished, and completed, but never saw the light of day because the show got canceled? How many episodes were filmed on a, studio soundstage or on location somewhere, or filmed, done, completed, but never got to see the light of day, and potentially could be in the Library of Congress? Makes you wonder. It makes you really wonder about that. But yeah, apparently the Library of Congress, just by this evidence alone, is housing a lot of media there. Some that are already been seen, established, and known, and have been, put into the, national preservation, if you will. But you have to wonder how many, like I said, kind of media is out there, like the American Sailor Moon, that didn't get beyond any further than, what was already done, and thus stuck at the Library of Congress. You have to wonder about that. But let me know what your thoughts are, guys. Let me know what your thoughts are down below. Comment if you like. What were your thoughts initially when you found out the American Sailor Moon had been finally found by Ray Mona? What were your thoughts about that? How did you feel about it? Comment down below. Live chat during the premiere. Also, what are your thoughts on what other possible media could be in the Library of Congress besides those that we already know of and stuff, but mainly our media of movies and shows and, and everything that have not really got the chance to shine, but outside of being talked about and sneak peeks in here and there, but nothing else? What do you think is also there? Let me know down below in the comment section, as well as in the live chat during the premiere. Like the video. Check me out on my BW Roses discussion podcast at all your favorite audio podcast locations except for Pandora. Also check me out at patreon.com/BW Roses, the $1, $3 tier. Also at Venmo at Brian-Warmer-2, and at Cash App at BW Roses 98 to help me financially ASAP there. And check out the Teespring store as well. But again, guys, let me know what your thoughts are. How do you feel? What were your reactions, basically, I should say, when this was found? And what other media's lost, do you think could be currently housed within the Library of Congress? Let me know down below in the comment section, and like I said, and in the live chat during the premiere. Super thanks after the premiere of the video is over. And until next time, guys, I'm out.